Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. So here's the second stream of the day. There might be a third one. I don't know if I'm going to do the ballot access stuff later to catch up on everything I need to do. And I don't know why my camera is doing this. I need to figure this out. Okay, because I want to fill the screen. Much better. Okay. I'm not going to do all of the patron stuff. I did all that earlier. I get tired of saying that stuff. And I've met my monthly goal. But I do want to mention something down in the low bar. That book that I've been reviewing, The Liberty Solution, it's really good. A really good foundational book. I would really recommend it to hand out to, new people or interested friends and family. It is in the low bar, my Amazon link. If you're interested in getting it, my hair's all weird. It will help you. Excuse me. The book will help you. If you get it through the Amazon link, it will help me. And that's all I'm going to say for that here. Because we're just continuing here. And there's actually been news going on right up till before here. Not anything I can discuss. Sorry. Teaser, right? With my whole appeal. This whole thing is just shady. I may not win my appeal, but shady as F. Listen, even if I was on the LNC, well, I was on the LNC. If I were on the LNC right now, let's mind the subjunctive. If I were on the LNC right now, and I couldn't stand that pink-haired secretary, and I thought she should be gone, and you guys know me well enough to know that I am accurately saying my position, what it would be. I would be opposing this suspension with every ounce of my being, just because of how shady it is. And I would not want to besmirch the reputation of the LNC with this nonsense, even if I supported the ultimate decision. And you all know my ethics enough to know I am telling the absolute truth there. I will fight for what's right even when it's against my interest. This is wrong. This is so wrong. There's 11 LNC members. They're just getting splattered with caca. That's a technical word. It's a technical parliamentary word, caca. So, hello everyone. And Wayne is cooking upstairs and it smells really good. And let me tell you, you all were really recommending doing concierge doctors earlier when I said I was going. This doctor spent a long time with me. She was excellent. She was so, how do I put it? Aware and not trying to dismiss my autism, because I have a lot of food issues. Because of it, I have a lot of sensory issues. And too many doctors just be like, well, you got to get over that, or you've got to do this. And she was like, nope, okay, that's valid. Like, she just basically said, okay, what you're saying is valid. Let's work around it. Like, you won't eat certain things. What will you eat? Okay, let's try to plan around that. And that was not a nice change. Like, she didn't try to change me. She tried to work with who I am, which was nice. Okay, let's set this up again. I had enough of talking about these people earlier with Aaron, but John laid a whopper. Woof! He just went in the middle of the floor, middle of the room, dropped his drawers, and just pinched a big loaf. And it stinks. And I can still smell it all the way from September 5th. So let's take a whiff, shall we, now that I set up that smell-orama. Let me find the file, the video file here. I know I downloaded it. Aaron, did I download it? I might need to re-download it. No, there's John Phillips. Okay, I guess it's the file called Phillips Lied Derpity Derp. Okay, let's play the derp. Are you ready for some derp? I am ready for some derp. Let's play it, and you guys are going to get a good kick out of this. Particularly you all very incensed about New Hampshire. You're going to love this one, and by love I mean hate.
A lot of times we define the NAP pledge as, refusal to engage in force or fraud for political or personal gain. Unfortunately, and I don't think it was intentional, but many of Mrs. Harlow's accusations against fellow members of this board with zero proof, even if some of them were borne out later, amount to fraud.
Okay. Oh, God. I'm back. How? Sometimes I wonder if people's brains take a vacation and their mouth just does whatever it wants to do, and their brain comes back later and re-listens to what their mouth said and was like, holy, what? What? Okay. So, John, you can't commit the nap unintentionally, and you certainly, I suppose you could. You don't remove an officer for violating the nap unintentionally. It was weird. How do you lie about somebody unintentionally? John, you were trying to have it both ways. If you're going to call me a liar, own your shit. Don't do the weasel words. If you're going to call me a fraudulent liar, don't weasel around it. Yes, that is Kim Ruff and John Phillips. Okay, so he claims, now notice he said, even if it turned out what she said turned out to be true. So that lets us know what situation he's talking about. He's talking about the JBH situation. And I should have pulled out the clip where he yelled at me at a meeting where I said, we have corruption, and he told me there is no proof of that. Okay? And that dovetails with what he just said here. He's claiming I was making allegations of corruption with, what was his words? Zero proof. Did I have zero proof? Did the LNC have zero proof that JBH was involved? If that's true, why did we seat an investigation committee? Do we just pull investigation committees out of our ass to start investigating things that we have no proof of? Or do you start an investigation committee because you do have some proof and you're trying to get to the entirety of the answer? You know, let's just willy-nilly start investigation committees. I mean, I think John Phillips may actually be a lizard person. I don't have any proof of that, but since, according to him, we had no proof that JBH was involved, but we sat an investigation committee, I want the John Phillips Lizard Person Investigation Committee set right now. Or did we have proof? And is John Phillips lying about me? See, I won't weasel around Mr. Phillips and say, well, I don't think she did it intentionally. No, I think you're intentionally lying about me. Because you're not that stupid. I have two choices. You're intentionally lying or you're stupid. And I know you well enough to know you're not stupid. I thought I knew you well enough to think you weren't a liar, but a lot of people have surprised me. So zero proof, really. Shall we go over the proof I had? Proof number one, the letter. Joletta Jarvis posts a letter by our chair, former chair, claiming it gave her the authority to take over the New Hampshire affiliate. That was the first piece of proof. It wasn't yet conclusive, but that's what raised everyone's antenna. What's going on here? Second piece of proof. I interviewed the people the day that letter was posted, and I spoke with Joletta Jarvis. And Joletta said, between her and JBH, it was their understanding that this letter was a transfer of affiliation from the old New Hampshire party, as she called them, the ones that were elected at their March convention, and her new New Hampshire party. Second piece of proof. Okay? Third piece of proof. Once that interview came out and JBH knew that is what Joletta Jarvis was claiming, any person who was not supporting that would have said, whoa, that's not why I gave you that letter. Why are you saying that? They would have immediately repudiated it. As Dave Smith had said, if he had given Robbie the Fire Bernstein a letter that said, you own the show of which you are host and it is part of the problem. And then Robbie turned around and used that to go to YouTube to say, I own this channel now. Dave Smith gave it to me, but Dave really gave it to him for some kind of employment thing. Dave would immediately have said, whoa, I gave you that letter, but not for that purpose so you could steal property. Okay? JBH never repudiated it. Third piece of proof. Fourth piece of proof, a further discussion I had with Joletta Jarvis, in which she said that that letter, contrary to what JBH told us, was not obtained for her by a conversation between those two. A third party talked to JBH and got that letter. So I asked JBH about that. If that wasn't true, he would have just said no, because he knew this was a very serious thing, but instead, he threatened to sue me. Fourth piece of proof, innocent people do not do that. Fifth piece of proof, his resignation letter on the way out justified everything that happened by saying there was a wave of bigots that flowing through the party, and the New Hampshire party was one of those that was taken over, and that you need to do everything you can to get rid of Nazis. Fifth piece of proof. Sixth piece of proof. On the way out, when I believe, and I cannot prove this accusation, but I believe it, and it's in the circumstantial evidence certainly bears it out, that Richard Longstreth colluded with JBH after the fact, not to take over New Hampshire. As I said in the last show, I never believed Richard Longstreth had anything to do with that. But he colluded with JBH to retaliate against me in that first removal motion. Okay? So when JBH did that removal motion, his spouse posted the picture, and he never repudiated it, of him on the beach on his little phone and said, cackling, JBH on his way out casting his vote to remove Karen Ann Harlos. We don't basically countenance people who run cover for Nazis. Saying that that's what I did. Or was I in 6 or 7 pieces of proof? Let's just be generous and say, because I might have only went to 5. I think I went to 6 though, and this was number 7. So no proof, John? I just pulled it out of my ass. I just thought one day I'm going to accuse JBH with no proof, and voila. I just happened to be right with no proof. What a genius. I should buy Lotto. Why don't you do a motion to inspect my crystal ball if I knew that JBH was involved with no proof? You are full of shit, John Phillips, and you slandered me at that meeting. No proof, my left ass cheek. And he used that. The fact that I allegedly went after JBH with no proof as his reason for voting yes. Corrupt. Corrupt retaliation against a whistleblower. Shame on you. So that's it for John Phillips. Less than I had with Aaron, but that was pretty bad. No proof. And you wonder, see, some LNC members were saying, such as Susan and Aaron, ironically enough, we were taking this seriously. We believed there were corruption. Why were you going out on to the members and saying that some of us didn't believe there was corruption? Because John Phillips said in a meeting there was no proof of corruption, just like he said here. You can't have it both ways. Do you guys even talk to each other? But to just show some additional hypocrisy, not on John's part, maybe a little bit on John's part, but more on the rest of the LNC's part, let's check out this clip, which I have entitled, John Flounce.
And at the end of this meeting, I can't stand any of you anymore, and I resign.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a flounce. I can't stand any of you, and I'm resigning. Goodbye, cruel political party, and walking out of the room. Now, saying in a business meeting that you can't stand any of you is a serious breach of decorum. Was he disciplined for that? For saying he couldn't stand any of his colleagues? How can he work with them if he can't stand them? And then he resigned. But 2 days later, as the meme goes, he was back. Does he now like them? What happened in those 2 days? Your girlfriend didn't resign with you as you expected? And now you can stand all of them? Are you lying now, John, or are you lying then? You don't have the backbone of your convictions to keep your suspension? Because, listen, the reason you gave for your suspension was you can't stand any of them. What changed? Can you now stand them? Why are you back? Because you're a man of 2 minds like the wind? Ruled by your emotions rather than your rationality? Is that who we want running the 3rd largest political party in the country? Ridiculous. Clown car. Every member should be utterly embarrassed by that display. I can't tell Region 6 what to do. But Region 6 should discipline him for that. I can say my opinion because I'm directly affected by his antics and by his lying vote, but I don't live in Region 6. And again, this is not a politically expedient video for me to make. John is popular. At this point, I don't know why, but he is. Because he can be a kind man. I know why. But why people think he's a good LNC member, I have no idea. He's thrown emotional temper tantrums multiple times. He's cursed people out at meetings. He's cursed people out on the LNC list. Yet he remains undisciplined. And he actually thought there was no evidence of corruption by the former chair until that investigation committee went out. Do you want someone with such a serious cluelessness protecting your assets in this party? I don't. Clown car. So, before I go and eat dinner, looks like I got some more sun, doesn't it? That's nice, I guess. I'd like to hear your opinions. And of course, super chats are always welcome because I'm a shameless grifter, and I am shamelessly grifting because this is my job. And Mama needs to make some money. Mama, the way I used to say on my podcast, though it's not true now because I don't work like a day job, but I'm just going to use my old expression, which is from a Fergie song. Pretty bad. That's how boomer is it that I quote Fergie, but Mama needs some lettuce for her shoe fetish. But speaking of Mama, Mama always brings the receipts, babies. Always brings the receipts. Because, unlike Mr. Phillips, I don't talk out of my ass. I only shake it. Everyone, I'd love to hear your comments if you have any. I know, if you resign, especially an insult, you don't come back. I know. And there should be no coming back from that. The rest of the Ellen should be like when he tried to come back. Of course, Region 6 could put whoever they want. But if the rest of the LNC said, yeah, no, you don't really like any of us, so we would really prefer that you go away. And thank you, Taranticia. I super appreciate the super chat. I really do. And you guys know, like, I'm joking with my grifting, but this is my job. Yeah, Latina, isn't it? You would think if I just had one like little morsel from that suspension motion that was like kind of embarrassing like that, that'd be bad enough, wouldn't it? But is this my 5th video? Like just extracting out little just embarrassing nonsense? Next up, Laura Epke. Now, Laura Epke, when she talked, she's smarter than that. But Laura Epke, who didn't collect that evidence, I know who did it, was Matthew Buffman, the cop that's on the LNC. Funny, they have a problem with how I make money. I wonder if they grill him on how many civil rights he may have violated because it's the law. Now, I had thought he was a former cop, but somebody told me he was still a current cop. If he's not, I would retract that. I thought he was a former cop, now turned private investigator. I don't pry into people's life, so he's at least a former cop. How many rights of people did he violate? Ever. Just saying, if you're going to go after me and the way I make my money the honest way through voluntary exchanges that don't violate anyone's rights. You know? But back to Laura Epke, Senator Epke, Dr. Epke. Even though she didn't collect all that evidence, and I'm not so sure the motion was even her idea, she signed off on it. She was the sacrificial lamb. So next video is going to be talking about how she completely trashed her reputation. And then tried to trash mine. Ms. Epke, I have more integrity in my big toe in this whole suspension thing than you have in your whole body. I'm not saying in general. You might be a wonderful woman of integrity. I don't know you. I don't particularly like you. We never got along, and that's okay. But because of that, I don't know you very well. In your personal life, you could be the most upright citizen. I have no idea. But I know in this suspension motion, my toenail has more integrity than you do. The jam under my toenail has more integrity than you do. In this suspension motion. I'm limiting it because people tend to say I said things I didn't say. Because I'm going back and so she did her greatest hits of me thing in her evidence folder, and I'm going back and rewatching all those videos. I'm actually surprised at how measured and fair I was in most of them. I got into my feels and lost my temper a few times, as we all do. But, oh my God, did any of the LNC members who voted for the motion actually watch any of those videos? Because they're not bad. And one of them is her interfering in the autonomy of the Colorado affiliate, because one of those videos was solely about Colorado. National needs to stick its nose back in its own business and get its nose out of Colorado's ass. You stick your nose up Colorado's ass, and we're going to lay a nice diarrhea load on your nose. I am protective of Colorado. Stay the fuck out of Colorado, National. It ain't your business. Ms. Epke, mind Nebraska's business, not Colorado's. Remember, the whole reason I got in the LNC in 2016 was to protect Colorado, because I saw that what the LNC did with Oregon. And in protecting New Hampshire, I was protecting Colorado by proxy. I always said that. Keep your nose out of Colorado's business. Listen, we got our problems here. It's kind of like, when you have family squabbles. I can call my sister ugly, but don't you stranger dare call my sister ugly, because I will cut a bitch. I can call my sister whatever name I want. You can't. And that's an analogy. I'm a pacifist. I'm obviously not cutting any bitches. That's an expression, because the LNC can't seem to understand, pop culture, because they're such fucking boomers. You think I'm a boomer? Laura Epke thinks a reach of 13,000 is big. I want to introduce her to PewDiePie. 13,000 is nothing. It is just my circle of friends. Oh my God. All right, everyone. I'm going to go eat. I might do a ballot access show tonight because I'd like to catch up. It's wonderful having all of this material. And I do start my radio show, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And my first subject might be corruption on the Libertarian National Committee, because they thought they were going to shut me up. The Streisand effect is a bitch. Okay, everyone. I hope you have a good night. I'm not going to play the outro and all that. I did that earlier. We're just going to close, and I may talk at you later. Thank you.